I think it's indisputable that a rising China is a threat to the United States, both for our economy and our national security. I think most of us would agree that the threat is immediate and real. That said, I think America's free market ideals are more compelling. There are a more compelling alternative for the business than the heavy-handed approach taken by the Chinese Communist Party. Instead of crafting a brand new outbound investment screening regime, we should continue to empower American investors and improve the tools necessary to surgically target bad actors and cut them off from our financial system. Mr. Eshoo, in your testimony, you mentioned that the American culture of innovation remains the envy of the world. What are some of the specific traits and characteristics that American business leaders bring to the boards of foreign companies?
That Americans bring to the board of foreign?
Yes. What are some of those ideas and innovations that we do bring?
So I think that the key to American innovation, which is hard to export, is openness. We are, as a country, we are a welcoming environment to the best ideas wherever they reside. And then we use an export control system to manage those ideas so they don't happen in the wrong place. I think that is what any American technology executive could bring, which is this idea of openness within limits.
So basically taking the culture of freedom and liberty that we have here in America and implanting it, per se, in Chinese companies. Is that?
Well, I think it's part of the reason why we want to be globally expansive as a country with our economic principles. We want others to share those. Not always successfully, but I think the effort needs to be there.
I think you may have touched on this, but are Americans currently permitted to serve on the board of Chinese companies? And if so, are there laws and regulations in place that make it difficult for an American to serve on a board?
I think there's absolutely restrictions in some countries. I think we're probably talking about China here, which
Yes.
is very, very mindful of the role Americans play in the Chinese business establishment.
So, but legally they can serve in certain conditions.
I know of no law. That doesn't mean there isn't one, but that
Okay.
is nothing. Yeah, that's nothing I'm aware of.
Can you explain why it may be beneficial for the United States to have Americans serving on the boards of foreign companies, specifically China, which you've touched on? But does having American executives serving on foreign boards have a strategic benefit for the U.S.? I mean, a long-range benefit.
It does, and it refers back to something I said earlier, which is one possible strategic goal for the United States is creating a dependency, a leverage over China. That can be technology, but can also be in the form of individuals. I think it's always good for us to be in a position of superiority relative to economics, technology, and so on.
So for a lack of a better term, maybe gaining some intelligence on the direction that certain companies that may be competitive to American companies would be taking.
One of the things, again, back to my days at BIS, one of the things we were always concerned about when we took an action like a particular sanction or restriction was that we would then lose information. That doesn't mean it wasn't the right thing to do, but there is a cost to it. And having the information, having an understanding of Chinese technology development is key to exceeding it.
All right. Well, thank you. I see my time's expired. Now yield back.